Hello and welcome to a new vlog. Longtime viewers will recognize the change in the audio. Recent viewers who've only been following me since this winter might wonder what that background noise is. That would be my air conditioning. We all just have to get used to it because it's not going anywhere for the next several months. Basically, I have been wearing my noise canceling headphones all day so far. It's 2:49 in the afternoon. It's nearly 3 o'clock, but it's not terrible. It's not bad, and it's the time. It's the season. This is what happens in March. So I really can't complain, and it's looking like it is going to cool down. I think by, we'll have to see what happens, but it's looking like by Wednesday, blissful quiet. It's turned off. Yes. It's gonna warm up a bit to like the upper 70s throughout the next several days. It's Saturday, March 11th as I'm filming this. So today through Tuesday is gonna be warmer, but then Wednesday it looks like it might rain, and then it's supposed to cool back down to like the upper 60s and low 70s Wednesday the 15th through Monday the 20th is what's visible so far. So I can't complain about that, like, at all. So it is a little bit warmer today, but so I have turned the AC on, but it's only coming on for like less than 10 minutes at a time, and then it's off for like 20 to 30 minutes. It's not coming on very often or staying on for very long, so it's not too bad. But I've been testing, giving my Bose headphones a proper test for the first time since I got them, because I got these in January, and I've only used them a couple times when like the landscapers have been here or something and I needed quiet. But I bought these primarily for the summer when the AC is on, because that noise just, it does my head in. I've been giving these a proper test run this morning and they work really well. I'm really happy with them, and they're super comfortable. Like, it's nearly 3 o'clock and I think I've been wearing them since about 11:30, and other than my ears being just a little bit warm, like, that's the only thing I notice. It's just my ears are a little bit warm, but like nothing feels pinched or compressed or anything like that. So this might be my summer saved right here. Fingers crossed. But I have just been having a super lazy day. I have finally slept, although it's still not that great, but I did get 9 hours. I will take it. I think I got like 6 hours straight, and then it was about 3 hours of just very like intermittent, like dozing in and out, but it's still all added up on my sleep app on my watch that I use to track my sleep. Like, it did still register 9 cumulative hours of total sleep. So will take it. I'm hoping I can sleep again tonight, and then I might let myself sleep in a little bit on Monday, even though Monday is going to be a work day for me because spring break is almost over. I'm so sad about that. So I've slept in. I had breakfast and coffee in bed. I've been doing some reading. Now it's nearly 3 o'clock and I feel like I need to do some writing, and I just don't know how that's gonna go, but I'm gonna make myself write for an hour. I'm so close to the end, and I'm starting to feel like I'm getting it to that point where I'm putting off the writing because I don't want the book to end. It always happens. And also there's always this feeling of I have to be like in the right mindset and have the right writing setup, and like the whole environment has to be perfect for when I write the words at the end. And so if I think I'm going to get to that point, but it's not quite, I'm not in the right mood for it, then I will put off writing. But I'm going to make myself, I know I'm not going to finish the book in an hour. So I'm going to make myself write for an hour and then probably stop and go for my walk, get ready for my walk and go for my walk. That'll be right around 4 o'clock. We'll see how far I get. I think I will get farther than I think in an hour, but definitely not going to finish the book today. but might get far enough that I can finish it tomorrow. So I need to just shut up and start writing.
Standing underneath the lights, look into each other's eyes. Tired snowflakes are coming down, collapse into water when they hit the ground. I hear the sound of empty streets, and yesterday has gone to sleep. All that's left is you and me. I can't promise you're the only thing I see. Hold my hand and hear the words I say. Close your eyes and let us fade away. Build a secret place for you and me, and let our minds be caught up in a dream.
Okay, I think I finished chapter 24, which is the last chapter. There was a bit I was going to include in chapter 24, but I think I want to put that into the epilogue because I think it makes a little bit more sense there. Yeah, so now I need to think about the epilogue. I've got 271 words written in here of things that I want to have happen, things that will both wrap up this book, but also that will slightly foreshadow the next book and who the next book might be about. Like, I never explicitly say it, but in each book, but like, I think if you were really paying attention to the end of Brave Together, you should know who book 4 is going to be about. I haven't announced that yet, but I will soon, probably sometime this summer, once I'm like getting into the editing phase of it. You know, it's like once the book is done, I'm at this point, I'm not gonna go back and like rewrite the book and start with a different character. So I do want to end this book with a slight hint at who the main romantic characters for book 5 will be. So I just need to figure out how exactly I want all of that to happen. The other idea I was having and what I need to kind of decide, and I could tweak this in editing, so I might write it one way and then change it later this summer as I'm editing it, but I'm trying to figure out if I want the epilogue to be, right now I've set it to be just a couple weeks after chapter 24 ends. So like the epilogue will be 2 weeks later, kind of a thing. But part of me also wonders if it might make more sense, given what happens in the story and what will happen in the epilogue, if a little bit more time has gone by. I think that would serve the story a little bit better and would just make certain character decisions make more sense if it's now been like at least a month or more since the end of chapter 24 and what gets kind of said and decided in that. So having it be later would be better, but I know I want book 5 to pick up pretty much where book 4 leaves off, just as book 4 is picking up pretty much just like 2 calendar weeks after book 3 has ended. It's been more than 2 weeks. Book 3 ends just before Christmas. Book 5 picks up just after New Year's. So it's within like a month of book 3 ending. And I kind of want book 5 to pick up roughly just as book 4 is ending. So if I put the epilogue too far into the future, so like book 4 is basically January to May, and I really wanted book 5 to be like May through August or September, and then book 6 can be September through like January or something, because it's all the same universe. And I don't want to get into stories that overlap too much or if overlap at all. So Like, I'm not going back and telling a parallel story that's happening at the same time that books 1, 2, and 3 are happening. Some writers do that. I know book 3 and book 2 of Olivia Dade's spoiler alert series. It's called something else, but spoiler alert, All the Feels, and Shipwrecked, or something like that, is the 3rd book. They're all happening almost like concurrently. That's a lot to keep track of as a writer, and even as a reader. Like, it was a little bit challenging for me reading those books to be like, oh wait, oh no, this is happening at the same time that the stuff is happening in the other book, and then I'm having to remember what was happening. So even as a reader, it's a little bit confusing when things overlap too much. But I think with an epilogue, I might be able to get away with, because it'd just be a couple plot points, with the epilogue happening in like June or July, but have book 5 start in May. So like book 4 chapter 4, I hope y'all are following me. Book 4 chapter 4 would end in May, and then book 5 chapter 1 would start in May as well, but then book 4 epilogue would be in like June. And so in the epilogue of book 4, I'd be hinting at stuff that's going to happen in book 5. And then in book 5, the scene in the epilogue of book 4 would happen, but from a different character's perspective by that point. And I kind of like that idea, and I think it could work without it being too complicated. But then the other problem is, then I'm committed, because if when book 4 gets published, there will only be so much I could then change about that scene when writing book 5. Am I making sense? I've never done this in a book, partly for these issues. So like I said, I could write it one way and then change my mind, because I'm still thinking of book 5 and what I know who it's going to be, and I knew who the love interest is going to be. Like, I know which of Eleanor's friends, and I know who it's going to be the main character, and I know which of the current guys on the roster of male characters is going to be paired up with her. So like, I know the 2 main characters, but like, I'm still figuring out what their story is going to be. And so if I make a more complicated, like, part of me wants to do a more complicated, for me, epilogue. It won't be complicated for the reader, but part of me wants to do a more complicated epilogue from the writer standpoint and just have it overlap a little bit. But then part of me also feels like you're overcomplicating things to stick with something easier. Oh, I don't know. Because like, I don't know if the main characters of book 5, I don't know if I have them meet for the first time in this epilogue, because then that's their meet cute, and then that's what I have to stick with for book 5. Or if I should just not have the one character be present at this moment in the epilogue and then save their meet cute for book 5. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. So I think I need to think about the epilogue. So I've written 650 words today. I probably need to go for my walk and think about all of this. And then tomorrow, I think I can finish the epilogue in one day. I don't think the epilogue is going to take me that long, so I do think I can finish it tomorrow. I'm at 109,192 words total out of a still projected 111,000. So that's what I'm aiming towards. But that's just under 2,000 words. And I'm thinking the epilogue might end up being like 1,500. Maybe it'll be 1,900, and I'll get to 111. We will see. Anyway, I've got a flashing battery light. I want to go for a walk and just think about stuff for a little bit more before I start writing the epilogue. I probably will wait and write tomorrow. So yeah, let's go for a walk, have a cozy evening, and we'll come back and revisit this whole issue tomorrow.
Quiet voices in the night, time is running out of sight. A lonely wind is passing by, tries to carry all the whispers that it finds. The walls are listening when we talk, making echoes as we walk. There's no one left but you and me. It's like a made-up place that only we can see. Hold my hand and hear the words I say. Close your eyes and let us fade away. Build a secret place for you and me. Let our minds be caught up in a dream. Standing underneath the lights, look into each other's eyes. There's no one left but you and me. It's like a made-up place that only we can see.
Okay, I'm back. That was lovely. A little bit breezy, a little bit warm, but the breeze was making it feel a little bit cooler. It's humid. It is a bit humid out. There's tons of clouds. Oh my gosh, the clouds still are incredible today. They're gorgeous. And I am glad that if I can't go hiking, I can at least kind of see the mountains from my neighborhood. So it's not the same as hiking, but it's almost as nice. So got to see the sun and the clouds and the shadows kind of filtering across the mountains. It was really pretty. But yeah, it's 5 o'clock and I'm back and I need to go get cleaned up and cozy and settled on the couch. My knees, I almost couldn't walk up the stairs when I got back here after my walk. I felt fine while I was walking, but oh, stairs, not my friend right now. My knees need to recover from all of that hiking. But yeah, I did do some thinking on the walk about the story. I think I can push, so I've written down on a sticky note, I'm not going to show you the note, but there's a note here for books 4, 5, and 6 of Across the Pond and the timelines. So originally book 4 was going to be January through May, with book 5 picking up May to like August or September, and then book 6 picking right up from there. But I realized that with book 6 I can't really start until December of the same kind of calendar year that the characters are all in at the moment in book 4. So I think I can push book 4, the epilogue, out to like July, then have book 5 pick up in July, like right after this scene or something. It'll be fine. It'll all work out. I'm excited to start working on book 5. I'm starting to get ideas for that. Book 6 I have fewer ideas for, but that's fine. I don't normally have ideas for too many books in a row, but it is pretty common that as I'm nearing the end of one book, I'm starting to have ideas for the next book in the series. So like with Independent Hearts, I don't really know. I know the rough plot for book 4, but like I'm pretty focused on book 3. But I started having ideas for book 3 while working on The Inn of Hopes and Dreams. So I am usually about one book ahead in my head, in my mind, as I'm like working on one book and thinking about the next. So that's exciting. I'm also getting ideas for book 2 of Royal Romance, and it's just like, Andrea, you haven't even started editing the first book. So I'm looking forward to summer break this year, I think. I mean, I always look forward to summer break, but I'm looking forward to summer break and just having time and space to work on all these projects again and just get a better sense of like their publishing timelines and where things are going. Because right now it just feels like I have all the ideas and no capacity to do anything other than outline and write them. Like, I've been thinking about Royal Romance. I just haven't been able to edit it. And I really want to edit it. I really want to work on that story again. But yeah, so I think I'm going to spend the rest of the evening, I think, just thinking about the epilogue. But yeah, I'm going to go get cleaned up. I need to figure something out for dinner. But I think I'm just going to sit on the couch for a little while and read, and then put something on TV. But just have a quiet night. I definitely need to put ice on my knees. My knees are not happy with me at all. I don't regret any of those hikes. I would do the last couple weeks again the exact same way I did. I probably would even go for longer hikes than I did on some days. So I have no regrets, but I am paying for it a lot. So I'm gonna go put my feet up, put my knees up, put some ice on them, have a cozy evening, and we will come back to the writing desk sometime tomorrow. Okay, it is now Sunday. It is the last day of spring break. I've just been having a lovely, cozy morning and early afternoon. It is almost 2:30 and I'm out here now on the couch. I think I'm gonna write on the couch today. My knees are doing better. Like every day they are doing a little bit better. So that's good. But they still hurt. So that's not so good. They are slowly recovering. And I did get more than 8 hours of sleep last night. So I got a second night of like good, proper sleep. So that's made a huge difference. And that's helping my body continue to repair itself. I do want to try to go for a walk just because I want to get out. So I'm going to try to go for a walk around 4:30 again, just another short walk around the block. So I'm going to write for an hour and a half, 2 hours. We'll see if we can finish this. It's just the epilogue. That's all we're down to. We're just down to the epilogue. So, because I've already gone back and tweaked some scenes earlier in the book where I needed to change some things. So it's really just about finishing up the epilogue now. So that's exciting. I've got my noise canceling headphones again. These things were amazing yesterday. They've been fantastic today. Like even sitting here on the couch with these on, when the music is playing, I can't hear the air conditioning at all. And if the music isn't playing, but these are on with the noise canceling feature turned on, I can hear, like, I can tell the AC is on, but it's really, really faint. I feel like I'm dreading summer a little bit less now that I know these do work really well, because it just makes such a huge difference. These are my new best friend. And the battery does pretty well. I'm gonna pop these back on and put on a YouTube playlist, a London walking video or something. This last scene is set in a park, so I might try to find a park walk video. I'm gonna get this written. I'm gonna stop procrastivlogging. It's now 2:32, so I'm gonna stop procrastivlogging. I'm gonna start writing, and we will see if I can finish this book. I'm done. The end. Of course, the end, as every writer who has gone on to completely finish a book knows, the end of the first draft is just the beginning of all the other work. So it's not completely the end, but I am done with the first draft. I just realized I never put what I wrote yesterday, so I need to put yesterday and today into my tracker. But today we did 1,859 words, and we have finished the manuscript. I can't believe it. Like, I really can't. It still needs work. I feel like I say that all the time. It still needs work, but it's the first draft, and first drafts are supposed to need a lot of work. So it definitely needs a lot of editing. I think I'm gonna tweak the epilogue a little bit. I feel like I could end on just a little bit of a stronger note, but this is good enough for now. And I already know I'm probably gonna tweak quite a bit of the epilogue. Or I might not. Who knows? I never know. It could end up staying pretty much like this. But I feel like the epilogue of the first draft is always more of a placeholder, because I have to go back and edit the whole book. There might be ideas and things that come to me as I'm editing, and things that I change that then will change how I want to write the epilogue. So I never overthink the epilogue on the first draft. Or if I didn't do epilogues, I wouldn't overthink like the last maybe 5 or 6 paragraphs of the final chapter, if that was going to be the end. But kind of the epilogue ended up being just over 2,000 words. So kind of like this last couple thousand words, I don't overthink on the first draft, because they could change. They could be completely rewritten by the time I'm done editing it. So some chapters I feel like, yeah, this is pretty much how it's going to be in the first draft, and I don't really see myself changing it that much. And so I do think about those a little bit more as I'm writing. But chapter 1 and either the last chapter or the epilogue, whichever, you know, applies. And this is advice I give to clients, to students, whatever writing you're doing. If it's like an academic essay, like if I'm talking to my students, I always tell them, don't overthink the introduction or the conclusion. Just in any writing, don't overthink the introduction or the conclusion. So if it's an essay, it's your literal introduction or conclusion to the essay. If we're talking about fiction, it's the first chapter and the last chapter, or the first chapter and the epilogue, whichever applies. Or if you do a prologue, the prologue and the first chapter kind of go together. In the first draft, those are just placeholders. Just get something written. You know, if you're writing a novel, if you're working on a fiction project, your first draft, your first chapter and your last chapter or your epilogue are going to change throughout the editing process. So get your rough ideas down on the page. Feel like there's, when you read books on the writing craft, and when you read books about how to write a novel, and when you listen to podcasts or watch other people's videos, things like that, you'll see it's very common that people talk about the importance and how crucial the first chapter in particular is. The first chapter is so massively important for a variety of reasons. It's important from a sales standpoint, because if someone is looking at the look inside feature on an online retailer to check out your book, or if they're picking up your physical book in a bookshop, the first chapter is where they're going to start. And so your first line and your first page and your first chapter, just from a sales standpoint, are super important, because that, for some people, is how they decide if they're going to buy the book. It's also important just from a storytelling perspective, because once someone has decided to buy and read your book, then the first chapter is what pulls them into the book. And a weak first chapter, it could have people putting your book down before they even get to chapter 2. So I fully acknowledge chapter 1, super important. Not as important when writing the first draft. I'm just gonna put that out there. Like, your first chapter does not have to be publishable quality, final draft ready at the end of the first draft. Like, just write something down, don't overthink it, come back and work on it once you've got the whole book written. This goes back to my whole standpoint on you cannot edit your book while you are writing it. Doesn't work. You think it works. I know there's gonna be some of you in the comments who are like, no, I totally edit while I write and it works. Not as well as you think it does. I'm sorry. This is me being a writing teacher coming in and finger wagging just a little bit. I tell my students this every semester. This is the hill I will die on. You cannot edit while you write. Two different sides of the brain. Writing is right-brained, creative, generative, imaginative process. Editing is left-brain, logical, linear, analytical, logistical type work. You cannot solve all the problems in editing while you are writing because you cannot see the full linear progression and analyze your story properly to be able to edit it properly while you are writing it. Doesn't work. At best, you're doing a basic level copy edit while you're writing like that, and that's not actual editing. It's important, but that's not developmental editing. Do not mistake copy editing for developmental editing. They are two very different things. So don't overthink chapter 1. Don't or the epilogue. You know, you want, like, chapter 1 is really important from a sales perspective and from the perspective of getting people drawn into your book and wanting to read further. And the last chapter and the epilogue, kind of both hand in hand, are also really important as far as tying up that story and leaving the reader feeling satisfied. You can have a kind of muddled, muddy, murky, a lot of M words as a middle, also an M word. Like, your middle it can have some sticky points. You can have some parts in the middle that the reader's just like not quite sticking with you, right? But if you save it in the end, you increase your chances of getting a higher overall like star rating and stuff like that. So like, beginnings and endings are very important, but not when you're writing the first draft. And this is something that I've had to really just accept with myself. I could sit here and I could easily take all of tomorrow to still be finishing up this book because I could be massively overthinking this epilogue and the last chapter, but I've got something written. I've got something to work with as far as editing. I'm going to take some distance from this project for the next several weeks, and I'll come back and start working top down, chapter 1 through to the end with editing, and we'll see what gets changed and what doesn't. But for all the work that I know it still needs, I'm very happy with this. I'm very happy with this. So we ended up capping out at 111,051 words, so just over 111K, and I did 1,859 words today. I had to bump Scrivener to tell me the deadline was tomorrow, because by having the deadline today, the session target was the same number as the manuscript target. So the little banner that pops out was just telling me I'd met my session target. And I'm like, I want to see the banner that says I've met my manuscript target. Come on, Scrivener. The banner should be whatever the like more important milestone target is. So Scrivener, if you're watching, you might want to like change that and give precedence to whichever the higher target is, because when you've been working on a book forever, the last thing you want to see when you finally meet your manuscript target is that you met your session target. So I did tweak that a little bit just so that I could get the correct banner pop out with the little noise, because that's very exciting, and I look forward. It's the little things that give me joy and that I look forward to. So I got to see that, so that was exciting. But yeah, it's done. Like, I can't believe it. I really can't. I feel like I've been working on this one for a while. Like, I started working on it before Nano. Like, I had the outline done before Nano, I think. Or was I still outlining in November? I think I'd gotten like Preptober, I think I'd gotten most of the outlining done. And then I think I was starting to write it. Maybe I'd had one chapter already written in October. Now I'd have to go back and look at the vlogs. I can't remember completely. Then I wrote so much during Nano. I think I topped out Nano at like 65K, like well over the 50K goal. But then I burned out, and I was talking about this in a recent vlog. I burned out during Nano, and not very good. And so December arrived, and I was on break from work, but I was still doing some work and prepping for spring, and I was also doing a lot of coaching stuff for my coaching business and trying to get that pushed along. And I just, by the 20th, I hadn't done that much writing, but I also was just so tired that I needed to like go on full break on the 20th of December. And then I didn't pick back up with writing until the 13th. So about halfway through through January, I finally started writing again. But then the semester was going on, and it was a lot. And then February, I felt like started off really rocky, and I wasn't getting a whole lot done. But then I changed my goal, and I gave myself permission to take until the end of March, if that's what I needed. Something about that worked, and just the taking off some of that pressure just made it feel like I can take the time that I need. The book will just get done when it gets done, and now I've managed to finish it by the end of spring break. I had hoped that I would finish it earlier in spring break and have these last few days of spring break to focus on outlining, but I can still spend the rest of March outlining, and then when Camp Nano rolls around for April, be ready, I think, to start writing. Or I'm not ready to start writing in April, and I spend part of Camp Nano finishing the outline for Independent Hearts Book 3. So I'm excited to now like dive into that full time. I just have learned this semester that at least this semester, we'll see how next semester goes, but for this semester, project hopping wasn't working. I need to be doing one project at a time and have that be my main focus and enjoy that. Like, since making Across the Pond my main focus, I have really enjoyed it. I've been enjoying the writing process a lot more. I have felt happier and have felt more joy in my writing sessions. I think the thing that made me feel joyful today while writing was just knowing I was going to finish it today. That's just such a joyful moment for any project when I finally get to the end. Of course, as you type out the end on the last page, it's more like the beginning, because now the really hard work begins. I love the writing process so much. I'm slowly learning how to love editing, but writing will always be like my main joy. I love writing so much. Anyway, I'm yawning, I'm tired. Tomorrow's Monday. Oh, I'm trying not to think about that. It's nearly 5 o'clock. I do need to go for at least a short walk. I just feel like I've been either sitting in bed or sitting on my couch all day, which has been helping my knees. My knees are feeling okay, but it's not been so good for my hips. My hips just feel a little bit tight. So I think I'm just gonna go for a walk around the block, or partway. I'm probably just gonna do the same walk I did yesterday, to be honest. Anyway, I've been talking for 19 minutes. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna go get changed. I'm gonna go for just a slow, short walk, and then probably do some reading and then have some dinner. But I think I'm just gonna wrap up the vlog here. So I'll show you a little bit of the walk, and then I'll show you my evening. But I think I'm gonna stop talking now. I don't have a question, but writers, you can give me your writing update. Where are you in all of your projects? If you've made it to this part of the vlog, you can leave me some, I know there's a British flag. I don't think there's any like specifically London-based emojis, so we can just put some British flags to honor the end of draft 1 of book 4 of Across the Pond. But if there are any London based emojis or any emojis that you think of as being London focused or UK focused, just give me some emojis that you think would be fitting for the Across the Pond series. And let me know if you're looking forward to this one. I'm really hoping I will get this one out by the end of the year. Even with slowing everything down, I still am going to try to get this one out by the end of the year. So let me know if you're excited for book 4. And yeah, give the vlog a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're not subscribed, all of that great stuff. And I'm gonna go enjoy and relax and enjoy, I cannot speak, the rest of my Sunday before a work day tomorrow. It's the end of spring break, so I'm going to enjoy every last minute of it. And yeah, I will see you all very soon in the next vlog. Thank you very much for watching this one. Bye!